apartment and there's a man with full frontal dick out. He totally saw me, then whipped it out, then starts peeing everywhere.
This will be the last time I will walk overtime again in this Canada. This will be the last time you guys will see me walk overtime again.
Nature is healing itself. We have developers complaining today about the number of unsold units in Vancouver, but I thought that was the whole point, right? Wasn't their argument that if you let us build condos everywhere, we'll have so many units that the prices will drop?
You know, Canadian cities feel almost unlivable right now. From the cost of living, the low wages for the prices of real estate, it doesn't really feel like a place that most people can afford to live. Not just afford to live, would you even want to live there, even if you could afford it? That's why there's also a lot of Canadians leaving the country. In 2025, it's the highest number of Canadians ever, and could get dramatically worse by the year. And there could be even more leaving by the end of the year. We're going to discuss it amongst a lot of topics in today's video because I've compiled a bunch of videos that reacted with you guys. So with that being said, let's first start about the wages in places like Toronto. Can you honestly afford to work for $15 an hour here? I mean, geez, that is a Jollibee. I imagine that that's the minimum wage, and if that is the minimum wage, you're probably going to have multiple jobs and work overtime just to be able to afford a bedroom in a house, a bedroom with roommates. Who knows how old a lot of your roommates are going to be. If you are someone who's not in college, it never feels good to live with roommates, especially if you're in a city. It's very infantilizing to say the least. But you know what else is depressing? The amount of jobs disappearing right now, like Scotiabank here, one of the biggest banks in Canada.
Scotiabank just laid off a bunch of people, and Nestea is also laying a bunch of people off too. AHS just laid off a bunch of people. This happened a while ago, but Imperial also laid off a bunch of people. So as a job seeker, me right now, it's not looking too hot if I'm going to be competing with all these people, especially considering that I'm a generalist. There's an irony of being jobless because, yeah, I want to upskill, but I don't have any money. So it's either YouTube for free or nothing in terms of like upskilling. But yeah, it's not a good time to be Canadian, Calgarian without a job. Calgary is getting colder and the job market is getting colder too. So I just had a bowl of Chinese beef noodles to warm my soul up. Good luck to Canadians.
Yeah, job market is pretty bad in Calgary. I think Calgary's unemployment rate right now is close to 8%. Not the highest in the entire country, but it's definitely up there, and there's a lot more people looking for work. Will they find it by the end of the year? Christmas is coming up and it's seasonal, so maybe there'll be some temporary work to kind of hold people over, but really when it comes to full-time employment, a lot of companies are not hiring because of the uncertainty right now in the economy. Now, Toronto, Canadians can't pay rent, now are living in trailers in Walmart parking lots. And this isn't just Toronto. This is one video in Toronto. I've seen this here as well in Calgary. It is pretty depressing to see. But again, if you can't afford rent, because the rent prices are so expensive, what are you going to do? Are you going to live on the streets? If you can afford to at least put some money together for a trailer, even if it's a small trailer, you'd probably rather do that. You just have to watch out for permits and stuff because, you know, there could be police trying to remove you, just like they remove a lot of the tent encampments in big parks like Trinity Bellwoods.
Bus drivers leaving passengers and then casually taking breaks at random stops.
Yeah, this happens quite a lot. Apparently, the reason why this happens is because they have a certain schedule to apply to, and if you get there too early, like to the station too early, can cause havoc. So sometimes they are forced to take these breaks. Apparently, I don't know, maybe they're not. Maybe they're just lazy and they just want to take as many breaks to look at their phone as possible. I don't know, but that's what I've been told before by people who work at the TAC. Now, Toronto, just letting prisoners walk free average day in downtown Toronto. I'm not sure if this person is a prisoner. Maybe that's just their Halloween costume, or maybe they actually are on like parole or something. I don't know, but they're wearing the classic orange jumpsuit. I'd be a little bit worried if I was in Toronto when I saw that. If there's no one, I'd be first thinking, oh, they're filming a scene for a show down here, looking around. Well, actually there's no camera crew here, so maybe that is actually an ex-convict.
This will be the last time I will walk overtime again in this Canada. This will be the last time you guys will see me walk overtime again. I just got my paycheck today, and what I'm seeing is not encouraging at all. I worked overtime. I worked Saturdays, I worked Sundays. Overtime, back to back, 10 to 10 p.m. shifts every day. And this is what you guys give me. Last month's pay that I didn't even work overtime, I missed some days, is better than this month's pay. I just don't know. Somebody explain it to me. Is it that the more you work, the less they pay you and the more tax they deduct from you? Or because I don't get this. I want to go on a date with this girl, but how will I explain to this girl that I don't have the money for the date? Safe, I don't even know if working hard is the way. I don't know if working hard is the way now, because with what I'm seeing here, the only date this money can afford, it's pizza. I mean, if she loved me, she have to love me for who I am.
Well, it took a little bit of a turn at the end there, a little bit of a twist, but yeah, I mean, that shouldn't just be your sole reason for trying to work hard, is to go on dates and spend money on dates or anything like that. But hey, you do whatever you want to do. I do agree, though, that overtime is a killer here in Canada. I remember my first overtime check. I used to work at a place called the Beer Store. A lot of them are closing down in Ontario now, but one of my first jobs was at the Beer Store, and I remember checking out my paycheck after working a lot of overtime in 1 week. And I was shocked at the amount. It was like, why would I even put in all these extra hours if they're just going to take more and more out of my pay? It was ridiculous. And honestly, a lot of people who happen to work overtime probably have that same feeling that he had when he looked at his check. It's not very fun.
Nature is healing itself. We have developers complaining today about the number of unsold units in Vancouver, but I thought that was the whole point, right? Wasn't there argument that if you let us build condos everywhere, we'll have so many units that the prices will drop? But the problem is they didn't build anything anyone actually wants to live in. People spending $800,000 for a condo don't want a 450 square foot condo. Absolute shocker. They want to get double or triple the square footage for that amount of money. The developer said that he thinks some developers have put in too many eggs into the investor basket. Oh, really? I thought you were saying for the last few decades that foreign investors have nothing to do with it, when in reality, turns out they were your entire customer base. And right now, a lot of condos are coming online that people don't really want to live in. What, you're telling me people don't want to spend millions of dollars to live in a condo where you can't even properly put a TV on the wall? Or that you have no walls to actually show off your art and create a unique style? Oh, and your bedroom is in a fishbowl in the middle of the living room? What prince are you trying to market this gaudy shit to? That's from a listing in this awful building that's been sitting on the market for 150 days. So my question is it not time to remove the exemption for the empty homes tax and the speculation tax on new units? Because we've proven time and time again, building more units doesn't lead to affordability. They'd rather just keep them empty than sell them at lower prices. So we should just be forcing them. Right? Let's end the empty home tax. They should have to either rent those units out, the thousands of units that are just sitting there empty, or reduce their cost and have an incentive to reduce the price to actually make them more affordable. Because that was their argument, right? When they wanted to knock down a 10 unit affordable building and build 80 units of luxury housing, they said, oh, but we're going to build so many units that rents and prices will come down. Well, clearly that's not happening, right? So we need to get rid of these exemptions. Stories like this are just laying the groundwork for them to advocate for getting rid of the speculation and vacancy tax, the empty homes tax, the foreign buyer tax, but we can't let them. We have to hold the line here. Correcting the market so it's aligned for Canadians is going to be painful. It's going to take time, but we have to stay the course.
Yeah, it's going to take a long time for the prices to truly crash to something that people should be able to afford, especially if you're building these one unit, apartments and condos that are usually meant for students, right? If you're a student or a bachelor, you probably don't have that much disposable income. So honestly, if I'm being completely transparent, those units that are $800,000, in reality, they should probably cost probably closer to $200,000 if we're in an honest, fair market. But will they ever go down to $200,000? I don't think so.
We are open for business. Oh, okay, let me try. Here in Hamilton, Ontario, we are open for business with great opportunity. That one's boarded up too. Oh, that is fucked. Here in Hamilton, Ontario, we're open for business. Okay, that's condemned.
Yeah, that's what happens in a city when the prices of rent have went up substantially because all the people from Toronto are trying to get out, and it's not their fault. They want to escape the hellhole, which is Toronto right now when it comes to affordability, and they try to move to Hamilton, and of course that gentrifies the area, raises the rent prices, and a lot of these establishments and stores can't afford to actually open their doors and keep their doors open.
Apartment, and there's a man with full frontal dick out. He totally saw me, then whipped it out, then starts peeing everywhere. On my way to get a tetanus shot from the dog that bit me on Hastings yesterday. While I'm at the pharmacy, I see people smoking crack everywhere outside. You see more people smoking crack than you do cigarettes here. It's insane. And this is the only city, I swear to God, I have to carry some sort of spray. I don't trust anyone here. I don't feel this way in any other city, in any other country that I travel to. I stopped filming, but then I almost got hit by a taxi crossing the street when I had the right of way. Basically, my point is we need to stop normalizing this behavior. I'm so sick of it. It's not tolerated in other cities and other countries. I don't know why we allow it to happen in Vancouver. Vancouver could be so beautiful.
Well, I mean, it is technically beautiful from like the landscape, but yeah, it was probably a lot more beautiful back then when Hastings Avenue was not just a drug-infested hellhole, but the city in general right now is definitely falling under. She started this video by saying a guy outside of her condo or apartment was just there on the street, full frontal nudity with his dick out and everything, and that's not really good to see, especially if you have children, there's families walking around, you see a dude just naked with his wiener hanging out. Probably not good. Definitely a reason to leave the city if you can afford it. If you can escape places like Ontario and BC, probably should do it. Let's react to some comments now on a previous video relating to this very video's subject. Let's start off with the first one here. Everywhere has gone downhill. I live in the west side of Vancouver and saw a tent pop up on the Arbutus Greenway. It was there for 2 days. I was shocked, but it is gone. Okay, so interesting. That's an area you probably wouldn't expect to see a tent pop up, but in Toronto, my God, in the summertime, the amount of tent encampments that would pop up in, parks around the city was just ungodly. There's just an ungodly amount of tents. I lived in Toronto for 12 to 14 years or so, left Toronto last November. I left around 2.5 years, a little over 2.5 years, and I don't know. The only thing that would ever get me to go back, and I don't think I'll ever go back, but it would have to be real estate crashing by like 70 to 80%, and getting closer to my friends and family there, but I just don't see that ever happening. So as of right now, I'm very happy to be out of that city. Next comment here, I left Toronto back in 2011 and never looked back. It was way better back in the day. I'm 45 years old now and grew up there. Oh, 100%. Even in 2011, it was actually still pretty decent. I think the big shift from me and my perspective, at least this might be a little anecdotal, but it was definitely around 2015 is where I noticed the city started to go downhill. And a lot of people will even argue that Canada started to go downhill around that time as well. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Please leave your comments there and I might pick them for the next video. With that being said, guys, hope you learned something from today's video and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.